Now, a few weeks ago, I had a bit of a schedule, which was quite interesting, speaking to golfers, lawn bowlers, as well as cyclists. Now, the cyclists that I'd spoken to en route to a very interesting trip to the KwaZulu-Natal. I think it was the Highlands they were going to. They ended up in Pietermaritzburg, a long trek that they took, some 400 odd kilometers they took to get to Durban and Pietermaritzburg. Now with me today are two of the members of that very same club, team captain George Mashinini and manager of their charities, Beubwachom, from Proud Beginners Cycling. Gentlemen, good morning and thank you very much for coming through.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Can you tell us a little bit, George, about the trip you took down to KwaZulu-Natal? Because I remember you were quite excited about it. I was quite excited to find out what it would pan out to be afterwards.
It was an exciting trip. I think in the beginning we were not fully aware of what we're going to expect, the challenges that we might have, including rain. Perhaps all the elements that you would ever face, wind. I mean, it was quite chaotic, really. And thanks to the teammates and the support guys that were there, and the Peus is our king of the mountains. So he helped, and we achieved perhaps the mission part one of the many missions that we're still going to pursue within the quarters of cycling itself.
The whole point of the trip itself, did you manage to get to your objectives?
Yeah, day one was more targeting the charity in Bethlehem, and we arrived just in time, 4:30 in the afternoon of the first day, 189 kilometers later. For the first time for a lot of us, so we achieved that, donated what we did for the SOS at that particular place as well.
And that's where you'd come in. I mean, you talk a little bit about charities, that Bloemfontein one as well. But you were part of this team. Oh. And what exactly do you do as the manager of charities for Proud Beginners Cycling?
First of all, we have to identify the right charity. Okay. As a club, there's certain principles that we stand for. So ours was to find charities that we could support along the way and try and find a charity that's aligned to some of our principles. We identified a children's home in Bethlehem, Bethlehem Child and Welfare, which was such a touching engagement with them. That's one way to put it. We've since had many conversations with them, trying to understand what their objectives are, aligning to what we want to do, and it was a match made in heaven.
All right, no, that's very interesting. Before I come back to you, George, I also know that when he first told me that Peu was coming, he told me he's king of the mountain. There's a reason for that. Tell us a little bit about how you got that moniker.
I got into cycling about 2 years ago, and I think one of the things that I found about cycling when I started cycling is it was such a perfect match for myself. I think because of my body structure. And because of that, I'm able to cycle up quite difficult terrains, and the team sort of gave me that title, yes. King of the Mountains. But that's just from the club. There's just a lot better climbers out there than me, to be honest with you.
No, but you know what, I want to jump in there because, you know, it's not the first time I hear cyclists talking about body type. Because, I mean, looking at you guys, I wouldn't say there's a specific body type. You guys are different heights, different body shapes.
Exactly.
In fact, even the other people that were spoken to the last time, the other guests you were with, again, are very different body shapes. Now, is there a specific body type to being a cyclist? Or it's just that if you're a cyclist, you're going to have a body structure that's specific to a specific bike?
I think it boils down to one key word, team dynamics. Yeah. There's a space for a Kenna, a Gino, for example, when you go pelt down the mountain. And then there's a space and a time for a Peu because you want him to go up and be able to assist wherever possible. There's a space for people like myself. When it's flat, we want to go, and we always have to be told, calm down. So yeah, the dynamics really, whether you are big-bodied or slim-bodied, as a team of, in this case, 12, we just did the coronation now, team of 12, all those dynamics come into effect because of the differences in the structures of the body itself. Yes, that's key.
Let's talk about the double coronation, that one that you did out in the Western Cape. How was that?
What an awesome race. One of the most beautiful races I've done in my 2 years of cycling. Very well organized. And we are very proud of ourselves as a team. Here you've got a bunch of guys, different heights, different sizes, different strengths, but managed to finish together as a team, which for us is at the core of what the club wants to achieve, ensuring that everybody reach the objective that they set out for. When we all left Joburg, we all wanted to finish the race. The races are such that only 6 people actually have to finish, and that time counts as the team is finished. So
and
some
all
teams,
12, and all 12 of you finished.
all 12 was finished.
Yes.
You know, out of first
5
time,
minutes
first time.
apart from each other.
Yeah.
It's
So
very
it was quite an achievement
Yeah.
that we're extremely proud of.
No, I think it's something.
First time, eh?
Something that's actually stood out with you guys. That you're very strong on your team dynamics. You're very proud of each other's achievements as well as individually as well as a team. Prior to the Western Cape one, you also did the Telkom race as well.
This man here, then he gets a new title. He's too quick, Speedy Gonzalez. He did a 248 in the 94.7. So yeah, I must say it's quite impressive. So he's ranked in our view as one of our own elites that we self. Yeah.
Okay, here's a question that I need to ask then. How competitive do you plan to be as a cycling club? Are we looking at you guys taking on the Argo Cycle Tour, Tour de France? What are we looking at?
You know what, I think George and myself and a few other guys in the club are a bit too old to be professional. But what we've done is we have invited young guys from our communities that we see have potential, and we've registered them as elites. We now are trying to help them move up the ranks to ensure that they have the opportunities that we never got. So we'll always have ourselves to do the leisurely rides, but we want to bring up youngsters who are going to be competitive, who are going to be competing with the best in the country.
We call it legacy. The next phase of Proud Beginners is to begin to bring out new face into the diaspora of South Africa with regards to, call it black cyclists, if that's the correct word, and then thereby grow it to that direction as well. And that's what we are trying to do, and trying to improve it.
So how do people get involved with that? I mean, how do they get to find out that, you know what, I don't have a bike, but I've seen guys on TV, I've watched all that stuff, I've seen them whizzing past my home or in the next suburb, and I really like to do it, but I don't have a bike. How do they actually get into that mix where they are being helped? There might be a talent, but we don't know. How do they get in that space where you guys are actually noticing them and bringing them up?
You see, up to now, there's 2 guys, Monde and the one gentleman, Musa, is one of the guys that are quite strong in terms of being the elite. And for example, in Monde's point of view, he actually didn't have a bike, but he had the skill to want to ride the bike. And from the team, donation was done towards him in order to get an appropriate bike to be able to cycle. And so therefore, we are putting ourselves out there to say, I mean, the corporate sponsors are out there. We can partake in order to identify certain individuals within the communities to be able to, take the kids off the particular issues into
But my question is, how do you find those individuals? Because, I mean, at any one point, there could be anybody in a room that's actually going to be the next biggest rider in the world. How do you find those people?
Create visibility within the townships by making sure that we are able to be as visible as possible, a Mamelodi, a Soweto Cycling Club, whatever the case might be, and try to be there as much as possible.
And support them. I think one of the most interesting things that happened in our journey when we went down to KZN and Bethlehem. So we did the whole donation. We raised some funds for the charity.
How much did you manage to get together?
20,000. 20,000. We are so proud of it.
Fantastic.
But interestingly, the guy spoke to me 2 weeks ago. Somebody donated bikes because they just saw us having gone through the charity, and they're like, and the kids are now inspired. He's saying that some of the kids want to start being cyclists. So it's just to try and support those kids, and ensure that if there is talent, it's supported. Because cycling tends to be quite expensive. You have to get a bike, you have to get the equipment. So a lot of our people are kept outside. So it's just to say, if we do identify talent, how do we come together and support that guy with talent and ensure that he competes with the best?
No, very good. Gentlemen, first off, before I say goodbye to you guys, your name, Bill, it's quite powerful, and clearly you're living up to it.
Thank you.
No, well done to your parents for the inspiration to bring you up in that way with that name. And George as well, to you, I'm really appreciative of the fact that you guys are doing what you're doing, making sure that youngsters get to live their dreams by seeing people that look like them doing so well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
They have proud beginner cyclists who've just come back from some very interesting and grueling tours around the country, who've just been sharing some of the experiences with us. George Machinini and Bill Bwakhomo. Now,